Obama administration, there were some important regulations put in place pertaining to for-profit colleges. Now, these are different from public colleges or private colleges. For-profit colleges are run much like corporations. They have investors and they want to make as much money as possible. And the money that they make usually makes individuals who are involved in the business wealthy, as opposed to going back into coffers for the school. So just so you know what for-profit colleges are. Now, there were a lot of controversial issues over the years regarding how these for-profit colleges were intentionally deceptive toward students that they were attempting to recruit. So they would show them job placement statistics that were misleading. To give you a quick example, if someone was going to one of these schools to study how to be a chef, they would show job placement rates at like 85%. In reality, those statistics included individuals who were working at fast food companies, literally flipping burgers. And so, of course, that's deceptive, especially when they convince a lot of students to take out very, very large federal loans. A lot of these schools relied on federal loans in order to make up their revenue. And for some schools, it was as much as 95% of their revenue. So taxpayers were being hurt by this, because where do you think that revenue comes from? And also students were being hurt by this because they were digging themselves in this gigantic hole for a program that wouldn't actually place them in a job that would give them a decent earning potential. Now, with that said, Obama finally did something about it. And so there was something called gainful employment, which ensured that if a school is to receive any type of federal funding, they have to have a certain ratio among the number of students enrolling and the number of students who actually get placed in gainful employment after they graduate. The second part of it was a debt forgiveness program for those who were misled by these recruiters, those who were the victims of this fraudulent behavior. Now, fast forward to the Trump administration.
What could go wrong?
The Education Department has decided to put a hold on these rules. Department officials will block a rule that clarifies how student borrowers can have their loans forgiven if they were defrauded or misled by their college. The administration will issue a stay of borrower defense under Section 705 of the Administrative Procedure Act, which an Education Department official said allows federal agencies to halt the effective date of a rule pending judicial review. Now, the loan forgiveness component of all of this was supposed to go into effect July 1st. Betsy DeVos comes in. She has been very, very sympathetic to for-profit colleges, was not in favor of regulating them whatsoever. She was actually very transparent about that. She comes in and says, no, we're not doing this, okay? So real quick, let's hear from Betsy DeVos. She says, it is the department's aim and this administration's commitment to protect students from predatory practices while also providing clear, fair, and balanced rules for colleges and universities to follow. Let's keep it real. This is really about protecting for-profit colleges and ensuring that your buddies, continue making as much money as possible with taxpayer-funded loans that are given to these students. And by the way, these loans aren't going to be forgiven. She claims that they will be if they qualify, but it seems like she's not very sympathetic toward the students.
It's not like we have a president that has any interest or a history in taking part in for-profit colleges or any kind of institution of higher learning where he made money off people and defrauded them. That didn't happen, did it?
Where he exploited people who were specifically looking to better their lives, who were looking for better opportunities. Trump University is the epitome of what for-profit colleges are. They're despicable, okay? Which is why Corinthian colleges went down the drain recently in 2015 because they were defrauding students. They were screwing them over and students weren't able to pay back their loans because they couldn't find gainful employment. They were told that they were promised the moon and the stars, right? And these recruiting techniques, I don't know if you guys ever watch daytime television, but they're clever, right? They go after very specific shows and a very specific demographic because they know that these people are desperate. They know that these people want to better their lives. And so they'll promise the moon and the stars and they'll be like, no, don't worry about it. Take out those student loans. It's gonna be great.
And many of the people in the audience that they're targeting maybe have had setbacks, maybe did other college, other kind of school, and like, I'm behind, I'm 22 years old already.
Yes.
I gotta do this, and by the way, that's still young. But still, you target people to think, I gotta catch up, and it's the quick and easy way. And the quick and easy way, and many times, especially with education, isn't. But they're taking advantage. Now, with the wording that DeVos put in that, with saying they're gonna use something to make it more fair and balanced and create this and do that, the thing with the gray area that no one likes to talk about in politics is, sure, there's probably issues, like when it came to the healthcare, Obamacare. There was things with it that were absolutely wrong, that didn't work, that it wasn't gonna develop the right way because it gave too much power to people in states that wanted to tank it. So, sure, there's things in the way that this could approach that you could clean it up. But what's gonna happen is the officials that she's gonna appoint are they're gonna be free to take whatever approach they want in considering what's good and what's bad, and then that'll be behind closed doors, because how many people every day are gonna report about what these random nameless department heads are gonna be doing to create the policy the way they want it? Nobody will. And we'll look up and go, how did we get that horrible piece of legislation that they said was gonna make everything so much better?
Yeah, so reading through this article, I couldn't believe how on the nose it was for the Trump administration. I thought that it would be a little bit more nuanced and mysterious.
Nuance isn't really the right word to ever describe anything happening in the Trump administration.
But I was reading it through, I was like, they must be trying to veil this in something else, right? There's no way they're just going to announce that they're just gutting this. They're not even gonna try and work through it. Again, so much of this is going to be going on behind closed doors with people that Betsy DeVos appoints herself. There's no oversight.
Right.
It is, we hired a businessman for president. People thought that was gonna be a good idea.
A businessman that defrauded students.
Right, and now he's doing that exactly that with the people that he put in place with our country. I don't know, it's like that. I feel like that's so obvious. It's such an obvious thing.
They don't have to anymore, because after the campaign and the way he openly said things that he was hoping to would give him a loss so he can go back to his life, and it didn't work, they went, oh, they'll go for anything. We don't have to hide anymore. Let's just say what we're gonna do, and they're gonna go, yay.
But also think about, look, this affects everyone, regardless of whether or not you have student loan debt, because if you genuinely care about the economy and how it works, you need people to spend money. You need people to stimulate the economy. And right now, there's a huge problem with $1.3 trillion in student loan debt. And when we are strapped with that, it's really difficult to go out there and buy a car or a home or get your life started and actually stimulate this so-called economy that we have, right? So everyone gets affected. But more importantly, younger generations, because of the fact that tuition has shot up so much over the last 10 years, younger generations are hurt the most personally, right? And younger generations are gonna vote for Trump. So if you're concerned about this being something that serves as a political ramification later on down the line, it's not, because these are people who typically wouldn't vote for Trump anyway, right? Like, I don't think they're gonna look at this.
Which could be why it's easily overlooked. I mean, remember he went on his thank you tour only to states that he won. As soon as he won the election, he talked about how he had his friends. He goes, I just want to help my friends. Literally, again, all this stuff is said right in the open.
That's what I can't believe. Like, they must have at least had some sort of a code language. It's not even coded. It's very transparent what's happening here.
Yes, totally. I feel like every time they're on camera, it's like, we're gonna you. We're gonna you real good. And you're gonna like it. And people are like, yeah, vote, we're gonna vote for him. I love Trump, Trump's so great, MAGA. It's amazing.
You don't like ads? I hear you, brother. You know how you can avoid ads for the Young Turks? Become a Young Turks member and get all the content ad-free. TYTnetwork.com/join.